Hi, I'm Kenton, and this is Kenton Knows. In this video, I will be sharing some guidelines for how to manage your construction projects like a pro, regardless of the size or complexity of your project. I will be walking you through the main stages of a project while providing advice that anyone can use at each step. I won't be going deep into forms, contracts, or evaluating contractors, but I will provide you with 6 essential questions you should ask your contractor every time you visit the job site to keep the project on schedule and avoid exposing yourself financially. If you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, clicking the like button, and as always, please leave me any comments you might have at the bottom as well. To start, keep in mind that there are 3 main criteria to measure any contractor: time, cost, and quality. That's it. If they complete the project on time, at your agreed upon price, and at the appropriate level of quality, then you'll have a successful project. Sounds simple enough for them, and it should be easy for you to monitor only 3 things, right? All right, well, let's get into the details. Scope of work. To start any project, you will need to begin with a clear scope of work, which you may hear referred to as SOW. The easiest way is to have an architect create complete plans and specifications for everything being installed. But on smaller projects, this may not always be feasible, or you just may not want to pay for anything more than the drawings required for a permit. Regardless of the project size, a clear written project scope is a must to set your project up for success. Bidding. The next step would be to choose your contractors to bid your project. Then send them the drawings and SOW. I'd recommend 3 to 5 bidders, as it is common that one is busy, so they send you a high number to make it worth their while. Someone else says they'll bid, but then changes their mind and pulls out, so you'll be lucky to get 3 actual reasonable bids if you start with 5 bidders. After they've had time to review the SOW, each contractor must walk the job site. I would not recommend ever awarding any work to any contractor who didn't walk the job site. The expectation is that your contractors are experts in what you're asking them to do. So regardless of your experience or knowledge, ask them questions. Ask how they will do the project, if they see any issues, or recommend doing anything different. With their experience, they may have a better way of doing what you want to do. Either way, I always like to hear another perspective. It may give you some other ideas, or it may just validate that what you're doing is the best plan. At the end of each walkthrough, be sure to write down any questions or clarifications. After all contractors have walked the project, send a list of all the questions and answers to all of the bidders, so they all have the same information and can create a complete bid for you. Bid review and evaluation. After receiving all your bids, you'll want to compare them. Pay special attention to their inclusions, exclusions, allowances, terms and conditions, along with the price and expected duration of the project. A contractor can use allowances and exclusions to reduce the quality or scope of your work and appear to be the low bidder because their bid isn't your full intended scope, even though it appears to be complete. There are many ways a bidder can manipulate the pricing to get a job, so the best way to try to flush this out is by discussing the items in the bid with the contractor. Be sure to ask them to price any work they excluded and be especially careful of allowances. This is an easy way to lower their bid. For instance, contractor A knows you want a specific flooring material and they know the price is $5 per foot, but their bid includes an allowance of only $3 per foot. If you are doing a 1,200 square foot space but didn't notice this, they effectively just lowered their bid by $2,400. Contractor A knows you'll need to pay the extra $2,400 to get the flooring you want. But even if you choose another floor, they got the job and you'll have to pay the difference anyway. If contractor B included the $5 per foot for the material they know you wanted in their bid, and their total bid is only $500 more than contractor A, you may be tempted to go with contractor A because their bid appears lower. Assuming everything else is the same, your total project cost would actually be $1,900 less by making the award to contractor B, even though the bottom line of their bid appeared to be more expensive. It's easy to be fooled by these tricks if you don't know what to look out for when you review your bids. If you update each bid after discussing the items in the bid, you can ensure all bidders have the same scope and you can confidently compare their costs and time to complete the work. The bid can't capture the quality of the work, so you'll need to get references or see examples of the work to compare the contractor quality. Contract award. Before choosing a contractor and making the award, you should have a conversation to confirm they fully understand the scope, expectations for payment timing, closeout items, working hour restrictions, material storage, staging, and any other special considerations you might have with this project, including when the contractor can start if awarded the project. I'm not an attorney, but since the next step will be signing a contract, I'd recommend having an attorney review any contract before you sign it. Insurance. You should also consult your insurance agent before starting any work. Let your agent know what work you plan to do and then discuss the following items. What insurance limits should I ask my contractor to provide? What additional insureds should my contractor list? Your name and business should be included on that list. When you receive a copy of your contractor's insurance certificate, will your agent review it with you? It is usually one page, but if you don't know what you're looking at, it helps to have a knowledgeable person ensure you are getting what you asked for. You should also ask your agent what your current insurance covers. Does your agent recommend a rider or additional policy during the construction? Since agents are normally extremely cautious and may want to sell you more insurance, I assume they will recommend something. However, before buying a project-specific policy, you may want to see if you could use an umbrella policy that might cover a much broader set of unfortunate events, and you may want to have one anyway. I also find that it helps to ask the agent to explain how the insurance would protect you against various events. What type of event could cause me to need the extra policy? The assumption is that your contractor's policy would need to be fully exhausted before needing to tap into your insurance policy. So depending on the scope of work, you just don't want to overpay for something that is very unlikely to happen. Before you start any project, you should get local, project-specific advice from your agent as to what to do with regard to your insurance. Protect yourself. How many times do you hear about a contractor abandoning the job without finishing? Or they did a really shoddy job, but the owner had already paid them in full anyway, so they were kind of left with the bad work. These stories, unfortunately, are not just due to bad luck. Yes, the contractor took advantage, but you can protect yourself to be sure this never happens to you. Although you should have discussed payment before signing the contract, it is common for the contractor to ask for money upfront for material or some other reason to effectively front load their project. If the contractor doesn't have the money or credit to purchase the materials for your project, I'd recommend looking for a contractor that does. In my opinion, you should only pay for work that is complete and material that is on your site. Do not pay for material stored in a warehouse or off-site. The only exception would be something that is custom, and in that case, I'd prefer to pay the vendor directly, not the general contractor. If you follow these guidelines, you should never be too financially exposed. If the contractor stops showing up, the quality is below your expectation, or any other issue comes up, it is much easier for you to replace the contractor with someone new if you haven't paid them for work they haven't completed or material that isn't on site. Managing the contractor. Now comes the management of your contractor. Selecting and hiring the contractor was the hard part, right? Now there's a contract and clear expectations, so it should be smooth sailing as you just sit back and watch your project come together, right? In my experience, that probably will not work out so well for you. If you want to keep your project on schedule and meet your expectations, you'll need to be much more engaged. My recommendation is simply visiting the job site on a regular basis, preferably while the contractor is there. Each time you visit, you should walk the entire job site and ask the contractor some form of the following questions. 1. What was completed since the last time I visited? You should inspect this work to ensure it was completed per the project scope and meets your quality expectations. Second, do you have any questions or issues that need to be addressed now? Third, what are you doing this week and next week? Fourth, do you foresee any issues or decisions you need me to make, and what date do you need a decision by to stay on schedule? 5, are you waiting for any material that will hold up progress? 6, is there anything else I should be aware of or talk to you about today? Although these questions may seem basic in nature, what they're doing is creating an open dialogue between you and the contractor, making sure the contractor knows you are paying attention, and asking the contractor to be sure to plan ahead so that the project does stay on schedule. In most construction projects, there seem to always be unknowns that could not have been anticipated. But if you consistently visit the job site and ask these questions each time, you should be able to keep your project on schedule, your contractor engaged, and have a better understanding of your percentage complete before you make each payment to the contractor. One last thing, remember that after you make your last payment to the contractor, you shouldn't plan to ever see them again, or for them to be very slow to respond. Yes, they should come back for any problems or issues, and a good contractor will. I'm not saying that at all, but you shouldn't count on it, as there is no longer an incentive unless they are really concerned about their reputation or doing more work for you. So be sure everything is complete to your satisfaction before you make your last payment. Also, see my punch list and closeout video for how to finish out your project. I hope this video gives you a framework to manage your construction projects like you know what you're doing. Like all things in life, the more projects you do, the more experience you'll gain, but at least this should give you a great head start. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and leave me a comment. Please like this video and be sure to check out my other videos. Thank you for watching Kenton Knows.